everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lovett, and I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that has subscribed to my channel and those that have been sharing my videos. Thank you so much. God bless you. And if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, I would like you to do that and to click the notification bell in order to be notified anytime I drop a new video. So today I'm going to be making a tutorial on how to cut a short knicker and how to sew it. So let's get started. I'm going to be making a short knicker with side pockets, and I'm going to be using an elastic, a bigger elastic as my waistband. So let's get started. I folded my fabric into two already, and to determine the actual amount of fabric you're going to be folding, so it totally depends on the thigh measurements you are using. So the upper thigh measurement, so around the hip, so you're going to measure it around your thigh. So and then you're going to divide whatever you get by 2. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using the measurements of 30 inches. That is, the round thigh is 30 inches. So dividing it by 2, I have 15, and I'm going to add 2 inches for sewing allowance. So that makes it 11. That makes it 17 inches. So I folded 17 inches. This is 17 inches. So the next thing to do is to take out 2 inches from the top. That 2 inches is for the elastic band that I will be adding to it. So I'm going to take out 2 inches. So every other measurement I'll be taking will be starting from here. I'm not going to start from here again. This is for the elastic band, so I'm going to fold it in like this. I'll be folding it in like this. So I'm going to be starting all my measurements right from this line. So the next thing to do is to determine the length I want for the short knicker. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using the length of 20 inches. So 20 inches plus sewing allowance, I'm going to be adding 2 inches to it. So I'm having 22 inches for the length. 20 inches plus 2 inches sewing allowance, so that makes it 22 inches for the length of the short knicker. I want it to be above my nail, so I think 20 inches is okay. So the next thing to do is to chalk out my hip line 8 inches. I'm going to be marking 8 inches for my hip line, 8 inches. And for my crotch, I'll be using 14 inches for my crotch. I'll be using 14 inches for my crotch. For the crotch, it totally depends on how slim or how fat the measurements you are using. So if you're using the hip measurements of 30, let's say 32 to 34 hip measurements, I would rather advise you to use like 11 inches for your crotch. And if you are dealing with the hip measurement that ranges from 35 to 37, you can use 12 inches. And if you're dealing with 38 to like 42, you can use 13 inches. And if you are dealing with 40, like from 43 to 45 to 50, I will advise you to use 15 inches for your crotch. So for this tutorial, I'm using 14 inches. I've marked my 14 inches already. So from the starting point, I marked out my hip line and my crotch line. So, and this is the length, the knicker length. So the next thing I'm going to be doing, don't forget I will be adding an elastic band to the top. So I won't be measuring out my actual hip, my actual waist measurements. I'm going to be using the hip measurements. I'm going to be using the hip measurement because I'm going to be adding an elastic. If you're not going to be adding an elastic, if you'll be using maybe like zip, you can use the actual your actual waist measurement for this for the top. So the hip I'm going to be using, the hip measurements I'll be using is uh the hip measurements I'll be using is 44. So I'm going to be using the hip measurements of 44. So 44 divided by 4, I'm going to be having 11 11 inches. I'm going to be having 11 inches. So plus 2 inches sewing allowance, that is 13 inches. So I'm going to be marking out 13 inches from this side for the hip line. I've marked out 13 inches, and on the waistline as well, I'm going to mark out the same thing, 13 inches, because of the elastic band I want to add to it. So for the crotch, don't forget I said you're going to measure out the upper part of your thigh very close to your hip. So the measurement I'm going to be using is 30 inches. So, and I'm going to divide it by 2. That is 15 inches, and plus 2 inches sewing allowance, that is 17 inches. So I'm going to be marking out my 17 inches here. So the next thing to do is to join it from my waist to my to join it with a straight line from my waist to my hip. You can see, and I'm going to be using my ruler to join it from here. You can see. So the next thing I'll be doing is to determine the measurement I'll be using for the down part. I want the knicker to be free, so I want the down part to be free as well. So I'll be using 24 inches. So 24 divided by 2, that gives me 12 plus 2 inches sewing allowance, that is 14 inches. So the next thing to do is to join it from here to here. You can see. So the next thing is to cut it out. Very simple. You can see it's very simple. So this is what I have for my front part. I'm going to be cutting this. So the next thing to do is to place this on my fabric again to cut out the back part. So I've placed the front part on the fabric, so I'm going to be cutting out the back part. So but before I do that, I'm going to be adding 1-inch allowance to the side like this. I'm going to be adding 1-inch allowance to it. If the knicker you are making, maybe if you want the knicker to be tight, to be fitted on the body, you can add more than 1 inch, like 1.5 or 2 inches. But this knicker I'm making is free already, so I don't need to add more allowance to the back. I'm just going to be adding 1 inch. So you can see this is the front part and this is the back. You can see the back is a little bit wider than the front. I added 1 inch to the back. You can see I added 1 inch to the back. That is just it. I'm going to cut it here as well because of the pockets I'll be adding. So that is it. So for the pockets, I'm going to be folding it. You know, see, I folded it into two already because I want to cut the two sides together. So I folded it into two, and I'm going to fold it again so that I will have the two pockets together. So for the length, I have 10 inches, and for the wideness, I'm having 8 inches. 8 inches is enough. And for the length, I'm having 10 inches. So I'm going to cut it out. So this is the two pocket. Cut it out already. This is the two. I'm just going to give it a shape here. So this is my pocket. So we are done. We are done with the cutting. So the first thing we'll be doing is to fix the pockets. So this is the front side. This is the front side. So what I'll be doing is that, don't forget I left 2 inches at the top here, so I'm still going to maintain that. So this is my 2 inches, and after the 2 inches I'm going to go down by 1 inch. After the 2 inches, I'm going to be going down by 1 inch. I want you to see it very well because it is so important. I want you to note that if I'm going to be using a zip, if I'm going to be using zip, I don't need to go, I won't be needing to go down by 2 inches. So that's 1 inch that I will be going down with is going to be starting from here. If I'll be using zip, I'm going to be going down by 1 from here. So because I'm going to be adding elastic, so I'll be going down by 1 inch, and it's going to be starting from these 2 inches I left earlier. So going down by 1 inch. So from this 1 inch, I'm going to be leaving out the pocket side, and I'm using 6 inches. I'm going to be marking 6 inches. 6 inches, 1 inch, 1 inch. So I'm going to be cutting it in a little, maybe with half inch. With half inch, I'm going to be cutting it in with half inch. You can see with half inch. See what I have here with half inch, and I'm going to be doing the same thing for the pockets. I'm going down with 1 inch as well for the pockets. You can see I'll be going down with 1 inch, and from there I'm going to be marking 6 inches. And I'm going to be cutting it in a little as well with half inch. You can see. Please don't let it be more than half inch. You can see with half inch, cutting it in with half inch. So the next thing to do is that I'm going to be taking one part of the front part. This is one of the front parts. Don't mix it up. Make sure you are doing this on the front part, not on the back part, please. Make sure you take notes. Make sure you did not mix it up. And I'm taking one of the pockets as well. So I'm going to be placing it on top of each other like this. I'll make sure that this is the front, this is the right side, and this is the right side of the pocket as well. So I'm going to be placing the right side on the right side like this. You can see I'm placing it on the half inch that I notched. You can see. So I'm going to be sewing it down from here, right from where the notching started. I'm going to be sewing it, and I'm going to be stopping right here at the 6 inches. So I'm going to be starting from here. I'm going to be sewing it down, and I'm going to be stopping here. So I'm going to do that and show you what I have. So this is what I have after stitching it from this place to this place. This is what I have. You can see the notching is there already, and you can see it. So the next thing to do, make sure you back stitch very well at the top and and at the bottom where you stop. So make sure you back stitch it very well. So the next thing I'll be doing is to turn it over like this, and I'm going to bring out the notch. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to bring out the notch like this. You bring it out very well. You can see, bring it out like this. So I'm going to be sewing it from here to here as well, just to hold this one in. You make sure you bring it out very well before sewing. So you fold it like this, and you're going to be sewing from this to this on the right side. This is the right side of the fabric. So I'm going to be sewing from here, and I'm going to be stopping where the notching stops. So I'm going to be stopping from. So this is what I have. You can see. You can see it's so neat. This is the pocket side. So the next thing to do is to fold the pockets in like this. You see, this is the right side. So I'm going to be folding it in like this. And I'll turn it like this. And I'm going to be sewing it from here. Then I'll come here. And I will stop at the notch. I'll be sewing it from here. I'll come here like this. And I'll be stopping where I notched it here. So I've done that, and this is what I have. You can see it is so neat and so easy. I started the sewing from here, and I stopped right where I notched it. So the next thing to do is to turn it over. Don't forget, this is the right side. I'm going to turn it over like this. We push this one in like this. You see, it's forming our pockets already. See, this is the pocket. This is where the hand will just go in like this. So the next thing to do is that you make sure it is so firm and neat. Just take your time. You don't have to rush while making a pocket, side pocket. So you just so the next thing to do is to just I'm going to be stitching on this like this, just to hold the other side of the pocket, just to hold it down. So I'm just going to be making a little stitch here, and I'm going to be doing the same thing here, just to hold the other side of the pocket, just to hold it in. So I'm going to be sewing it a little here, and I'm going to be doing the same thing here, a little, just a little, to hold it in. So here is what I have. You can see I just hold it in a little, and here as well. You can see it's already in, and the pocket is standing already. You can see the pocket is standing already, and this is it. It's looking beautiful already. So the next thing, you can see this is the back view. So I'm going to put this one out like this. You can see it's so neat at the back as well. So I'm going to be taking one side of the back part. This is the front, and please don't mix it up. Make sure you separate them immediately after cutting it out, so that there won't be a mix up. So this is the back. I've placed it on the front like this. This is the front, and here is the back. So I make sure the right side is facing the right side. This is the wrong side. So I'll place the right side on the right side like this, and at the end, at the top, I'm going to be, let me show you here so that you can understand. So I'm going to be sewing it from the top, right from here. I'm going to pick in the pocket a little at the tip here. So I'm going to be sewing it here. I'll pick it a little here, and I'll go down here as well. I'm going to be picking it a little. Then I will go down to the end of the short knicker. From here, you're going to be sewing it down a little. The right side facing each other, the back and the front. This is the front, this is the back. I'm going to be placing the side on each other like this, and I'm going to be sewing it. So I've done that, and this is what I have. I started my sewing from here. This is the pocket. So, and I move down. I top stitch the lot here so as to hold down the notch. You can see this is where the notch started from. So I top stitch it and then go down here as well. I top stitch the lot, then I went down, and this is the right view. You can see what I have now. See, the pocket is ready. Our pocket is ready. You can see it's so neat and so easy to make. You can see the pocket is ready and it's neat. See, so I'm going to be doing the same thing for the other side as well. Then we move on. So I've done the same thing for the other side as well. You can see this is the first one and this is the second one, and the pocket is looking so good. So the next thing to do now is to place it on each other like this. You can see this is the front and this is the front here as well. The pocket is here and the pocket is here as well, and it is so neat. The cloth is a bit, the fabric is coming out a little, so I'm going to be needing to whip it. So I will whip it down. When I'm done, I'm going to whip everything so that the wool will stop coming out. I'm going to whip it. So placing it on top of each other, this is what we have. So the next thing to do, I'm going to be sewing it from here with 1 inch. I'm going to be sewing with 1 inch. I'm going to be starting here and I'm going to be stopping here. I'm going to go in with 1 inch from here to here with 1 inch. Don't forget, if you're going to, you don't forget I said I'm going to be making it to be loose. I want it to be loose, so I don't have to bother about the measurements a lot. So, but if you want it to be fitted, you have to measure, take in your waist measurements, your hip measurements. You have to include them. But because I want the necker to be loose, so I will just be going down with 1 inch here, and I'm going to be doing the same thing here as well. I'm going to be going down with 1 inch here, 1 inch here as well. So guys, I've done that, and this is what I have. You can see here is what I have. So after stitching it here and here, so this is what I have. And the next thing to do is to go like this. This is the trouser pair, so you can see it's forming already. So the next thing I'll be doing, before I pipe the down part, before I pipe it in, I'm going to make sure it is well laid like this. You can see it's so neat. So the next thing is that I'm going to be piping it with 1 inch. I'm going to be piping it in like this with 1 inch. I'm going to sew it down here, and I'm going to be doing the same thing for this place as well with 1 inch. So I've done that already. You can see I've piped it in, and the next thing to do is to take one pair like this. So I'm going to be starting the sewing from here. I'm going to be going in with 1.5 inch. 12 inches is okay for here, so I'm going to be going in from here. I'm going to be going in from here, and I'm going to be coming out here. So I'm going to be stopping from here. So I'll be going in like a U. I'm going to be making a U-turn like this, here, from here to here, and our trouser is done. Our knicker is ready. So, and for the upper part, I'm going to be piping it in with the 2 inches I left earlier. I'm going to be folding it in like this with the 2 inches. I'm going to be folding it in like this. So I'm going to be sewing it round. So, and I'm going to be leaving like 2 inches to pipe in the elastic. So after bringing in the elastic, I'm going to be joining it again. So this place will be will be like this, and the down part too. So, and after that we are done. So guys, I've done that, and see how it looks. It's so neat and it's so beautiful. So I'm going to iron it out, and I'm good to go. So I've piped in the waist, and I left like few inches in order to pass my elastic in. So this is the front side. You can see the pocket already. This is the down. You can see how it looks. So when I fixed in my elastic, this place is going to be like this. It's going to be folded in like this, and that is all. So if this tutorial has been helpful, please give me a thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel so that you'll be notified when new tutorial is out, and please share my tutorial. Thank you so much. God bless you.